For many years, the ground beneath us hid a secret so old, so precious that even the elders had forgotten its existence. But the earth never forgets. It was in the small town of Igbo-Ukwu in present-day Anambra State, Nigeria, that this secret finally revealed itself. My grandfather, Mazi Okonkwo, used to tell me how it all began. He was just a young man when a farmer named Anozie made a discovery that would change the way we saw our past forever. Anozie had been digging a well in his compound when his hoe struck something hard. He thought it was a stone, but when he bent down to look closer, he saw something shimmering beneath the soil. It was metal, but not just any metal. It was bruised, shaped in a way no one had ever seen before. News spread quickly through Igbo-Ukwu. People gathered around the site, whispering in amazement. The objects pulled from the ground were unlike anything we had known. Beautifully crafted bronze pots, delicate ornaments, and a sculpture with intricate patterns, each piece so detailed that even the finest artisans of our time could not replicate them. The elders shook their head in wonders. These are made by our ancestors, they said, but we have lost the knowledge of how to create such things. The discovery shocked the world. Historians and archaeologists came from far and wide. They dug deeper and found more buried chambers filled with treasures, evidence of civilization that had mastered metalwork long before Europeans ever set foot on our land. For years, people doubted the sophistication of African civilization. They believed that our history began only when foreigners arrived, but the Igbo-Ukwu bros shattered the lie. The artifacts were dated back to the 9th century, centuries before the Great Benin Bros, before Europeans explorers, before anyone had thought that such advanced artistry could exist in this part of the world. The designs were not simple. They showed skills, patience, and knowledge of lost techniques. The bronze was mixed with lead and carefully cast, a process that required precision. Some pieces were even covered in fine thread of pure silver. How did our ancestors do it? How did they learn this craft? And why was it lost? These are questions we still ask today. Today, Igbo-Ukwu is no longer just a quiet town. It is a place of history, a symbol of the greatness of Igbo people. The artifacts discovered there are displayed in museums across the world, prove that our ancestors were skilled, intelligent, and ahead of their time. Whenever I visited the site, I stand in silence, imagining what life must have been like back then. I picture the ancient craftsmen sitting in their workshop, shaping metal with a steady hand. I think about the leaders who once ruled this land, the traders who exchanged goods with distant land, the people who wore this ornament with pride. My grandfather always told me, never let anyone tell you that we had no history. The proof is beneath our feet. And he was right. The Igbo-Ukwu bros are more than just artifacts. They are a message from our ancestors reminding us of who we are and the what we are capable of. The world may have forgotten for a time, but the earth remembered, and now so we do. Even now, when I walk through Igbo-Ukwu, I feel the presence of our ancestors. The land holds their whispers, their secrets, and their legacy. Some say that those who made the brews were guided by the Spirit, that their hands moved with divine knowledge. Others believe they were master craftsmen ahead of their time, trained in skills we can no longer comprehend. But one thing is clear, what was buried was never meant to be forgotten. After the first discovery in 1930s, more excavations followed. The British archaeologist Thurston Shaw came in 1950s and uncovered even more astonishing finds. Royal regalia, bronze-roofed pots, decorated shells, and intricate pendants. These were not just random objects. They belonged to a structured society, one that had rulers, wealth, and a deep artistic culture. The most surprising discovery was a burial chamber, evidence of a great leader laid to rest with honor. His body had long turned to dust, but the items surrounding him spoke of his status. A bronze staff, beaded necklace, elephant tusks, these were symbols of power and reverence. Who was he? A king? A high priest? A warrior? No one knows for certain, but this legacy remains. The Igbo-Ukwu bruise challenges everything outsiders once believed about Africa's past. The level of artistry, the complexity of the design, and the use of lost casting techniques show that our ancestors were not just farmers and traders, they were innovators, thinkers, and engineers. And yet, for centuries, the knowledge vanished. How did such an advanced craft disappear? Did war drive these artisans away? Was the skill passed down to only a few who later took it to their grave? Or was it simply a lost tradition, fading as time moved forward? We never knew. But what we knew is this: our ancestors left behind something that even time could not erase. Today, Igbo-Ukwu stand as a cultural and a historical landmark. The National Museum in Enugu and the British Museum in London display our heritage, though many of us believe these treasures belong here, where they were made, where they have meaning. The bronze has inspired modern Igbo artists and blacksmiths, pushing them to reclaim the craft of metalwork. Festivals of cultural exhibition now celebrate the greatness of Igbo-Ukwu, reminding the younger generation that their history did not begin with colonial rule. It began long before, with kings and craftsmen, with bronze and gold, with a civilization that flourished when the world was still waking up. Whenever I visited my father's grave, I placed my hand on the soil and whispered, "We remembered," because that is the greatest honor we can give to those who came before us, to never let their story be buried. Even though the Igbo-Ukwu bronze have gained global recognition, there is still an unfinished battle. The fight to bring them back home. Many of the most precious artifacts were taken away, displayed in foreign museums, where people view them as exotic treasures rather than sacred symbols of our past. The elders say a child birthright should not be kept in another man's house. For years, historians, cultural activists, and the traditional leaders have been calling for the return of our artifacts. These objects are more than just pieces of metal. They are proof of our greatness, symbol of our lost heritage. The question remains, will those who took them ever return them? Or will we forever have to travel to distant land to see what rightfully belongs to us? Despite this, Igbo-Ukwu continue to rise. The community has built its own museum to house what remains of its history. Tourists, scholars, and researchers come from all over the world to see the land where the blues were discovered, to stand where our ancestors once stood. I am part of a new generation of Igbo people who refuse to let our past fade into silence. We are learning the stories, understanding the craftsmanship, and honoring the legacy of our forefathers. Some young artists are now reviving the art of broadcasting, trying to unlock the lost techniques of our ancestors. Others are writing books, making documentaries, and teaching children about Igbo-Ukwu's hidden treasures. We will not let our heritage be forgotten. We will not let others tell our stories for us. When I look at the intricate designs of the Igbo-Ukwu bros, I see more than just metal. I see the hands of those who came before us, the vision of the people who know their worth, the whisper of civilization that refused to be erased. The ground beneath us has already spoken. Now it's our turn to listen. Thanks for watching. This is the end of the story. I believe you enjoyed this story. Stay tuned for more history and cultures of Africa. Please do well to like, share, and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss out on all interesting histories and cultures of Africa.